Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94. You're back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to the NBA in 2007. This is probably the most middest year so far for the NBA. This was a very mid year, in my personal opinion. But for the LeBron Glazers, this is probably your glorious king's arrival. Oh my God. We could finally talk about you. We could finally say that your glorious king was finally being talked about for the first time in his career. He actually made us have to talk about him for the first time. He became the topic of interest, only to get swept by the Spurs. Damn. So, anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into the most weakest, middest season by far. Let's see here. Kobe was going crazy again. This time he was giving niggas 50. I think he went like 8 straight games of just straight 50s. The Golden State Warriors upset the Dallas Mavericks this year. And went on a generational run. Darren Williams took his team to the Western Conference Finals, and that's when I was like, you know what, Chris Paul's overrated. To this day, Chris Paul's still overrated. I still take Darren Williams over Chris Paul to this day, even though Darren Williams ain't played in the NBA since what, 2017. I still take Darren Williams over Chris Paul. Um, What else happened? Oh, Iverson went to the goddamn Nuggets. Yeah, that happened. And the Nuggets got into it with the Knicks, and that ended up being one of the funniest brawls. He just had to be there, bro. One of the funniest brawls that ever happened. I think it was Nate Robinson and J.R. Smith that got into it. And Nate Robinson somehow managed to pick up a grown ass man and body slam him into the crowd. Meanwhile, Melo got a sucker punch in, and then the whole team, and then the whole New York Knicks team chased after him. That's crazy. Um, I also believe this would be Brandon Roy's rookie year. He don't talk about the rookies as much. He only talked about the 2000, and he only talked about LeBron, Wade, and Melo. He never talked about Dwight. He never talked about Chris Paul and Darren Williams coming into the league. I'm pretty sure he's not gonna talk about Rudy Gay, Brandon Roy, Monte Ellis. I believe this is, yeah, Monte Ellis came. Yeah, Monte Ellis came in. This was also, I believe, no. Next year was the last year. Was it? Yeah, next year was the last year for high school players to be eligible for the draft. Yeah, the 2008 draft class was the last time any high school player was eligible for the draft. After that, the 2009 and going forward, yeah, if you was in high school, your ass had to go to college or go overseas, do the Brandon Jennings route and go overseas. So yeah. Um yeah, man. The playoffs, like I said, the playoffs was on some WWE shit this year too. I mean, if it wasn't for Robert Horry slamming Steve Nash into the scores table, Amar Stoudemire and I believe Boris Diaw wouldn't have got suspended for the next game, which gave the Spurs the advantage, and that's how they ended up getting back to the finals. I think the Suns would have got over the hump that year. Um, in the East, if Ben Wallace never left the Pistons, the Cleveland Cavaliers would have probably got swept. Because there's no way because there's no way LeBron is getting into that paint with Ben Wallace down there. That's just me. But anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into this.
Let's take it back to the unforgettable year of 2007. The first ever iPhone is released, the cult classic Superbad is released nationwide, and Soulja Boy takes over the internet for the very first time. Meanwhile, on the hardwood, the 2007 season would go down as one of the most unforgettable seasons in NBA history. An unlikely star was crowned MVP, a familiar force.
No, the regular season was great,
and a young king was quickly becoming the league's undisputed king. You're
The
gonna want
regular
to stay tuned for this.
the regular
so join
season
us
was
as we do a
great. The
deep dive into
playoffs was
this
just
critical
ass.
year in the NBA in the year 2007, a year in review. The Dallas Mavericks were fresh off one of the most heartbreaking finals losses in NBA history. After being up 2-0 in the finals and a championship within grasp, Dallas would end up losing the next 4 games to kiss their chances at a title goodbye. So as close as they had been the season prior, unsurprisingly, Dallas ran it back with the same crew in 2007, led by 9-year veteran Dirk Nowitzki. In this season, Dirk reached a level of offensive efficiency few in the history of the NBA had ever reached, joining the elusive 50-40-90 club,
Yes,
shooting
sir.
50% from the field.
Dirk was going
40% from
crazy.
three,
It's just crazy
and
they got
90%
upset
from
in the
free
first
throw
round.
line. Dirk led these Mavericks to one of the best regular seasons ever recorded by an NBA team this season, winning 67 games. These Mavericks were deep, they were well coached, they were hungry, and they were led by one of the greatest players of the decade in Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk would go on to win his first ever league MVP, becoming the first European to ever win the lucrative award. But as great as Dirk was in 2007, the best player on the planet was still Kobe,
Yep.
who retired number 8 and began rocking jersey.
Oh
number
yeah, that's right. He
24
did have
this
the
year.
number change
There
this year.
aren't enough adjectives to describe just how special Kobe was during this phase of his career. He had 0 flaws in his game. On the offensive end, he was as pure of a scorer the league had ever seen, as good as, if not maybe even better than Michael Jordan in his heyday. Defensively also, he was a menace, earning himself another first-team all-defensive selection, the 5th of his career.
Yeah, Kobe was going
However,
crazy.
unfortunately for Kobe, as has been the case the Shaq departure in 2004, his team was not championship ready. Made up of too many young, below average and role players, the Lakers as an organization were failing the most talented player in basketball during his prime by not surrounding him with another all-star or at least an above average supporting cast. So the Lakers in 2007 were again mediocre at best. Despite his team's struggles though, Kobe would lead the league in scoring for a second straight season, averaging 31 points per game, including an incredulous 4-game streak that saw him score 65, 50, 60, and then another 50. During this phase of his career, Kobe was putting up 50 like it was nothing.
Yep.
Kobe's heroics on a nightly basis only elevated his Lakers to the 7th seed in a highly competitive Western Conference. This conference featured the best teams in the league, but the best of them all by a wide margin was the 67-win Dallas Mavericks. League MVP Dirk Nowitzki and a supporting cast of veterans and battle-tested role players who had just made the finals a year prior were looking to punch their ticket to their second straight NBA finals and redeem last year's finals loss. As the first round got underway, these Mavericks would face the 8th-seeded Golden State Warriors, who hadn't made the playoffs in 13 years and who barely squeaked into the playoffs this year. Could these Warriors even win one game? No one was giving them a shot. But these Warriors weren't your typical 8 seed. They played with speed, they played with swagger, and although they lacked a true star, they had an edge, unity, and belief in themselves that made them lethal. Long, athletic wings like Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, and Al Harrington completely threw Dirk off his game. The Warriors prioritized speed and pace over size and grit, headlined by explosive point guard Baron Davis, whose combination of size, strength, speed,
Shout
and
out to Baron
athleticism was
Davis.
exactly what this team needed. With every game, Golden State's confidence continued to grow, and their home crowd in Oracle Arena was loud, rowdy, and really kickstarted the pace that these Warriors were hoping for every single night. On the other end of the matchup, Dallas just could not match Golden State's speed, energy, and belief, and after a historic 67-win season, these Mavericks ended the season in embarrassing fashion, made victim to the greatest upset in NBA history by losing to the 8th-seeded Warriors in the first round. The We Believe Warriors became a cultural phenomenon, and although they wound up losing in the second round to the Utah Jazz, their imprint on the Golden State franchise and the entire league was special and long-lasting. In the second round of these playoffs, point guard Baron Davis completed a dunk that perfectly encapsulates this historic playoff run.
Getting the basketball because a lot of good things will happen, not just with him scoring, but then also it opened up.
That was crazy. I remember seeing that live at my dad's house. I remember seeing this live at my dad's house. My dad, a Golden State Warrior fan. Oh, he was turned up that night. That nigga was
With
turned
Dallas
up that night.
eliminated, all eyes turned to the second round of the Western Conference.
Yes, sir. The second round was pretty much the determining factor of who was going to go to the finals.
These were now officially the two best teams in the league, and the winner of this series was almost certainly likely to win the NBA championship. Phoenix, led by two-time MVP Steve Nash and a now healthy Amari Stoudemire, were poised to take their high-octane offense all the way in 2007. And seemingly always standing in Phoenix's way were the San Antonio Spurs. The trio of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili had become one of the most consistent and dominant forces in the league. And as the playoffs between these two Western Conference juggernauts got underway, there was no holding back. The intensity was fierce, the play was physical, and both teams were going back and forth. The series reached its climax in Game 4, with Phoenix approaching a victory to tie up the series.
That was some bitch ass shit.
Nash was dribbling the ball up the right side in the final seconds of the game until Spurs forward Robert Horry violently hip-checked Nash out of bounds. It was unnecessary, flagrant, and most observers call it cheap and uncalled for. This caused Amari Stoudemire, who was on the bench at the time, to leave the bench area and tend to his teammate. Under the letter of the NBA law, a player on the bench is not allowed to leave the bench under any circumstance. So in probably one of the most controversial calls in NBA history, Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw were suspended for the pivotal 5th game of the series in Phoenix. San Antonio ultimately won that game and the series in 6, crushing Phoenix's hope of a title in 2007. Amari's suspension was and still is the most egregious call in NBA history. It shaped the trajectory of the series, and with this being Phoenix's best shot at a title, for it to get rejected because of a league suspension is incredibly disappointing for not just Phoenix fans, but for basketball fans all around. At that point, if you're Commissioner David Stern, you've got to let that suspension go. You've got to let Phoenix's full squad face off against San Antonio's full squad in Game 5 and see what happens.
Yeah.
And seeing as though the pivotal Game 5 was in Phoenix, it's not inconceivable that Phoenix would have won that game and the entire series in general. In any case, as heartbreaking of a playoff loss that was, San Antonio emerged as one of the final 4 teams remaining. In the Eastern Conference,
You don't find
the
that
Detroit
suspicious.
Pistons, who had been dominating its
You don't
conference for a
find that
number of
suspicious.
years now, were once again in the conference finals, and this time against the 22-year-old phenom LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron's supporting cast in Cleveland was probably even more inferior to Kobe's Lakers, which made his ability to not only win 50 games, but also reach the conference finals this season an almost impossible feat. There was no doubt that Kobe was still the best player in this season, but what LeBron was able to accomplish in the regular season and in these playoffs turned heads, and what he did in these Eastern Conference Finals in
Bruh. The amount of glazing. My God, bro. The amount of glazing, bro.
Choke just a little bit, cause that make him feel like a man, like he killing your shit. Dude, this is a tickle in my throat.
I'm about to bust.
The glazing, bruh.
some critics' minds changed the debate to who truly was the league's best. Against a battle-tested and championship-driven Detroit Pistons, LeBron took his very inferior team to a pivotal Game 5 in Detroit, with the series tied 2-2 and a chance to take a commanding 3-2 lead. At this point of the series and season for that matter, LeBron had already done enough. He had changed the narrative on him and Kobe, and had already established himself as one of, if not the league's best. If the season ended for him here, it would have been a success. But he was not done. In Game 5, he logged a mind-boggling 48 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, which included Cleveland's
Never would have happened if
25
Ben
points
Wallace would have
in a
stayed in
double overtime thriller.
Detroit.
Cleveland beat Detroit in Detroit, and the entire crowd and frankly the entire league was in shock. This Game 5 performance will become LeBron's crowning achievement in his young career, as he let the entire world know that we were officially in the LeBron James era of NBA basketball.
No, we weren't. He was
To
still in the
everyone's
Kobe era.
surprise, LeBron and Cleveland defeated Detroit to punch their ticket to the NBA Finals.
Notice how he doesn't talk about how they beat Detroit. He only talks about game 5. He don't talk about game 6 when they was pretty much double teaming the fuck out of LeBron and made LeBron pretty much a non-factor, and Boobie Gibson off the bench, a rookie Boobie Gibson off the bench, pretty much is the reason why the Cavaliers went to the finals that year. Stop it. If Boobie Gibson don't go crazy from 3, y'all don't make that. Cleveland don't make the finals. Stop it.
But as the finals got underway, unfortunately for LeBron, this is where his miracle season would come to an end. His Cavs had no business being in the finals, and their mere presence in these finals was an impressive achievement in and of itself.
See, that's why I said, bro, this season is so mid, because once you get past the Spurs and the Phoenix Suns, everything is predictable at this point. It didn't matter who was going to, if the Detroit came out the out the East, they was going to get dog walked just like Cleveland. They probably would have got 5 games instead of 4, but they would have got dog walked because they don't have Ben Wallace. They don't have an anchor down there. Chris Webber, they had an old ass banged up ass Chris Webber, bro. Chris Webber was done. His knees was done. His back was done. Chris Webber could do absolutely nothing. The man could barely get any lift on a jump shot, bro. Let alone get you some couple of rebounds or something like that. He'd probably be good for like the first 5 minutes, and after that, Chris Webber was a non-factor, bro. So I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Like, I'm just keeping it real with y'all, bro. Like, it didn't matter who was gonna face the Spurs that year. It was pretty much over. Once Phoenix and San Antonio pretty much was concluded, that was it. The rest of the 2007 season was done. This shit was boring. It was way too predictable after that, but I digress.
San Antonio was just too deep, too talented, and too experienced to let a 22-year-old beat them. San Antonio swept Cleveland to no one's surprise, and the Spurs, in a quiet yet dominant fashion, hoisted their 4th title in 9 years. And for the decade, San Antonio had 3 titles to match LA's 3 titles from earlier in the decade. The end of the 2007
but it wasn't a
season
three-peat,
marked
though.
a crippling end for 2 establishments. First up, the Phoenix Suns. After their round 2 bloodbath with Phoenix, the Spurs would lose only 1 game thereafter en route to the championship, making it very plausible that Phoenix, if not for suspensions to Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw, could have been crowned champions in 2007. This would have solidified the Steve Nash era in Phoenix with at least 1 championship. In an alternate universe with Phoenix crowned champions, who knows how that would have greatly benefited and further shaped Steve Nash's legacy. Just as Steph Curry is revered for changing the game of basketball in the mid-2010s, you have to assume that Nash is praised at the same level for what he did for the game of basketball in the mid-2000s.
Not really.
Next up is Kobe. At the end of the 2007 season, his title as the league's best is more or less usurped by LeBron James.
No, it's not.
Conference imbalance aside, what LeBron was able to do with a roster that was just as inferior as Kobe's spoke to LeBron's greatness as well as Kobe's limitations.
Bro, who mans is this? Who mans is this?
You stupid. You stupid. You stupid. You stupid. You stupid. You stupid.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Get some help. Stop it. Get some help. Stop it. Get some help. Stop it. Get some help.
Really, nigga? Really, nigga? Really, nigga?
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
Bro, what are you talking about? Bro, you sound stupid as fuck right now. Ain't no way you said that, bruh. Ain't no way you just said, who mans is this? Who mans is this? For real.
Nope.
Oh my God, corny, lame, boo, tomato.
Bev, did you really just say that LeBron, because LeBron took a inferior team to the finals, says more about him than it says about Kobe? Bro, do you not recognize that Kobe is in the Western fucking Conference with more teams that have 50 wins to their name compared to the Eastern Conference, which has teams that barely even cracking 500? Do you not see the discrepancy between the conferences? Kobe's playing in a more stronger conference. LeBron's playing in a weaker conference. Stop it. Stop it. You sound stupid as fuck for saying that shit.
Oh, nigga, you gay.
Really, nigga? Really, nigga? Really, nigga?
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
This is what I mean, bro. This is what I mean. The LeBron Glazers, bro. These are the LeBron Glazers, bro. LeBron Glazers. We didn't even speak on Allen Iverson going to Denver with Melo. I just realized that. But look, man, I ain't even finna continue this video, bro. This is what I mean, bro, about these LeBron Glazers, bro. How can you say that he's better than Kobe and Kobe had to play in a stronger conference as the 7th seed? My nigga, make it make sense, bro. The reason why LeBron was able to do what he was doing because he was in a weaker conference. You have to think about it. A lot of the teams that were powerhouses, they lost a lot of their assets or players to the fucking Western Conference. Think about it. A lot of players that was on the Indiana Pacers when they was strong. Reggie Miller retired. Steven Jackson and Ron Artest went to the fucking Western Conference. So Indiana is not a factor anymore. Then let's see what else here. But Shaq is getting older and slower. Dwayne Wade was injured for pretty much the whole season. Injured for pretty much like half the whole season with a dislocated shoulder. I'm trying to think what else. What else happened? Really, and to be honest with you, really there was no true other threat. There was no true other threat in the East. Other than the New Jersey Nets. Other than the New Jersey Nets, there was really no true threat in the East. It was either going to be Detroit, Cleveland, or New Jersey. That was it. Okay. It was also going to be Miami as well. But like I said, Miami was dealing with injuries that whole year. And by the time they got back to the playoffs, it was clear that they were done. Their team was too old. They were too banged up. That team was done. So it is what it is on that front. So nah. And then in the West, you got fucking stacked ass teams from top to bottom. You got Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming in Houston. You got fucking San Antonio and what they got going on. You got the Phoenix Suns and what they got going on. You got Dirk pretty much running rampant on the league with the Dallas Mavericks. You got a young upstart team in Golden State. Like, come on, bruh. What are we talking about? You got Allen Iverson and Melo on the same team in Denver. What are we talking about here? The West was super fucking stacked. Come on, dog. You're not making sense here. Nah, I'm not letting that slide. Nah. You sound hella stupid for that. That was the most. Matter of fact, play it one more time. Play. I think we need to play it one more time. Just one more time.
Choke just a little bit, cause that make him feel like a man, like he killing your shit. Dude, this is a tickle in my throat.
I'm about to bust.
I'm just saying, bro. But anyways, let's just go about doing for this one, man. I will see you on the next video. Till then, bye.